This is like a very active archive. Every type of thing you can think of that has to do with WWE programming, we keep it here. Our wall of coffins is one of the things that people are always in awe of. This is the history of the business. It's the story of the characters that make the show.
For this next one, we dug deep into the Golden Vault. This is the time we went and had a private tour of the WWE warehouse with one of their archivists.
Hello everybody, this is Ben Brown. I'm the WWE Archivist and you are in the WWE warehouse / archives. And I'm just gonna give you a tour around, show you all the stuff that we keep here and some of the cool things throughout WWE and the professional wrestling industry's history. Over here is what we kind of built for as a set, in a sense, but also just kind of a workroom for the A&E show, the WWE's Most Wanted Treasures. But I love it. I love working in here. So I have like some cool things out, some cool things kind of out and about. These are Eddie Guerrero's boots. Here's an Undertaker hat. This is Andre the Giant singlet. So this is WrestleMania 3. So you can get a sense of the size of Andre. Look, and that's, by the way, not holding it tight. That's loose. That's from my head to the bottom of my rib cage. Insane. This is the first ever Intercontinental Championship. A lot of the folks who have held it, Macho Man, Ricky Steamboat, Greg Valentine, Bret Hart. It's Shawn Michaels. It runs the gamut of some of the best, kind of in-ring workers of all time. And that's the first. That's the first one. Cool to see because it's like it looks like it's carpeted on the back. It was definitely made at a trophy shop. That's something that you could probably have found these elements and then sort of like pieced it together. Andre's boots. This is the head of Seth Rollins. The boots of Buddy Rogers, the first ever WWE Champion. Ultimate Warrior boots. Ring bells. These are actually a little harder to come by than you might expect. We have a hard time finding the bell that we like that has this particular sound. In boxing, you hear like a really like ting, little real tinny type sound, like ding 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 ding, and in WWE you hear it's rounder. It's got a little bit more like heart to it. It feels different. The Rock's $5,000 shirt, and this is John Cena's chain gang soldier necklace. I was looking for this before. So the Andre singlet. This is a fun one. Underneath his singlet at WrestleMania 3, you can see something poking out. This was what Andre wore after he had back surgery. I mean, this thing is a saddle. And you got Andre kind of punched in there, punched in the leather. These are the booking books. So some people refer to them as the Bibles. It's essentially every match and every person in that match ever. So here's 87 to 88. I think this would be October 11th, 87. 3 shows, one in Toronto. There's your A-Town, more or less. On top in Springfield, Mass was Brutus Beefcake versus Honky Tonk Man. And then in your, C-Town, more or less, or your other town, you have Bam Bam Bigelow and Harley Race on top. This is the history of the business. And what's great about it is it's written in pencil. And it's very intentionally written in pencil because things are erased all over the place. No, maybe put that guy here. That guy's out. We're working on this guy, So everything is ever flowing and changing. Every type of thing you can think of that has to do with the business, whether, it's garb or like a piece of paper that somebody scribbled a note on or a publication, like we keep it here. I try to walk through it as often as I can. I mean, I have a normal job at the office too. So that's to say, please forgive me for the mess. This is like a very active archive. This is a very active warehouse. It's not just sitting here to like collect dust. Like if I can reuse it or to showcase it or to bolster some piece of content, absolutely will do so. It's funny. I'll grab things out of here and have seen them for years and then watch a little bit of WWE programming or some old programming and go like, oh, that's where that's from. So late WCW, Ric Flair was institutionalized, and in the background are all these Central Florida mental hospital signs. And I literally had no idea where those were from until I rewatched that clip that I hadn't watched since 2000 or whenever that was. The Andre is to scale. And this cutout, I mean, it's on board, has been around since probably the 90s. So that's the kind of vibe we're going for here. Is like fun, unexpected stuff and people that we revere. The shirt, things as simple as this. This is a shirt and a tie worn by the referee Dick Kroll at WrestleMania 1. Just anything that memorializes that WrestleMania is kind of a treasure here. There's not a lot that we have here from the first WrestleMania. It was, it was kind of a crapshoot, right? Vince was mortgaged his house in order to make it work and to bring in the celebrities, and I think it worked. The longer I work here, the more I fall in love with like very early wrestling. So this is Jim Londos, the Golden Greek. This is a fun piece because this was actually hung at a gym in Southern California called Slammers. And all of the wrestlers who would have come through there signed it, including, you see, George Wagner, the Chief. George Wagner is Gorgeous George. So pretty cool to have a real signature, like the real name signature of Gorgeous George on the front of something, on the picture of Jim Londos. I could nerd out over that for way too long, so I'll try not to. This stuff is great. So these are concept drawings for talent. You got your logo, your type logos, inspirational stuff. Apparently Rick James is inspiration. You have different types of outfits. Lots of Rick James. This kind of went similar to that. I think he ended up having shorts. All these different drawings. I mean, look at this thing. Flash Flood concept. Base art shows Flash and the Funk Sisters. Flash is in wrestling jumpsuit of chrome yellow and blue, green and magenta rhinestone decals, all sorts of details. It's all part of the creative process, and I love it. Look, like there's somebody who worked for the company trying on the jacket at the office. It's fun. And there he is. Flash Flunk / Too Cold Scorpio. Some of these things will have name, like they'll come up with a bunch of different names for somebody. Steve Austin famously talks about the list that was given to him, that it eventually became Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it was like, yeah, and they gave me a list that said Fang McFrost and Stiletto. I can't do Steve very well. This is infinitely interesting and valuable because it's the story of the characters that make the show. So this is a more recent piece of memorabilia. This picture was from our Money in the Bank ladder match in 2020, which was an unconventional Money in the Bank ladder match. It took place at WWE headquarters at the Tower. Fun thing. I mean, a little bit of a trade secret here. You got a little bit of a bullseye, but and all the makeup on the back. It's kind of incredible. So actively collect here. It's not just historical. It's not just 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I will call people who are at the shows now and say like, hey man, could you please put that aside? Like, I think that's important. This is a recent thing, but a fun Best in the World trophy. So that's Shane McMahon as the best in the world. And the reason it's so great, the reason this trophy is so great, all of them are very cool, but it's just like, it's so easy to kind of tote around. So he can take that with him. He can put it under his arm. He can, somebody could drink out of it if they wanted. Yeah. So our wall of coffins is one of the things that like people are always a little bit either spooked or in awe of. At least 20% of this warehouse, it has to do with the Undertaker. Undertaker is by far the most successful character in WWE history. The ones that all look the same are from WrestleMania 30. And then we use them again, like in Saudi Arabia a little while back. I was a druid for that in 110-degree heat with a torch. And then, you have gold coffins, you have burnt coffins. And to me, this is one of the more iconic of the caskets. This one's not super comfortable. The ones that are like these big, deep ones. This one says Heart Attack Tour. One over here, I think is Mark Henry. Those are made custom for the shows. Those are made custom for WWE, and the padding is nice and comfortable. Again, to the point, everything's a thing. You've got Attitude Era oil cans from the backstage set. That's the King of the Ring chair that Austin proclaimed. Austin 316 says, "I just whipped your ass." What's going on back here behind me? Rings for SummerSlam. You got your boards, you have your structure, you have your poles, you have all the mats, all the elements of the show are kept up at the front here. You'll see our plethora of ladders here. You know, they start out orange like this, and we spray paint them silver. That's for matches like TLC and for Money in the Bank and anything else that involves the ladder. Everything is a thing here. So when we do, WWE does like old school Raw, it's kind of this blue look, right? So there's our nice new blue ones. At the very top are the old blue ones. And you just see that shade of blue is a little bit more worn. And those things are covered in debris from being worked on and being used and all that sort of stuff. One of these days, like I have this vision of a room in a museum where I have those down and like a piece of plexi over it. So you can like have people walk on it, but not walk on it. It's just cool because it's just, you know, it's everybody has touched those. Everybody has taken a bump on the outside and sweat and bled and cried on these things. So the things I get to pick out of, I don't know. Punjabi Prison is a cage match in a bamboo structure that's most affiliated with the Great Khali, Hall of Famer, the Great Khali, great guy. And the fun thing about this is it looks like a giant bamboo structure, but it is solid steel, except for these little pieces. You know, these are bamboo, but that is a steel structure. We hadn't used it for like a decade, right? People are coming through the warehouse and they're like, "Why are we holding on to that thing? We haven't used it in a decade." Well, about 6 months later, they want to do something with Jinder Mahal and have it take place inside the Punjabi prison, and it went back on the road. So you never know. Again, lots of like bigger set pieces over here. There's big trussing. Back there is pretty much everybody's favorite thing in WWE. In the back, that's the Smackdown Fist. So the thing is massively heavy, right? So they'd have to, whoever was putting up the set would have to raise it up first and then build the stage under it, because if it was sitting on the stage would have collapsed. And it's this giant fist crashing through glass and fireworks coming off of it and all that. I've taken many of pictures of fans and talent and employees in front of the fist as something that they've always wanted to do. I don't know. Everybody, to each their own. One of one is pretty much the name of the game here. I mean, this is things are. I mean, first of all, a lot of this stuff from a collectible standpoint is wildly expensive to produce in the first place, and we're producing it for the spectacle. So it is that one item. It is that one piece. The Rock came out at WrestleMania 32 in Dallas. He's got a blowtorch. There's the Rock sign. Sets it on fire. Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. And then he comes to the ring to tell you that we're at 101,000 plus people. And then there's an impromptu match and all that sort of stuff, and it's a lot of fun. But I love that you can legitimately tell the story of where this thing has been by breaking it down. Like for this, you're like, okay, cool, I can see the pyro gel. I can see where he hit it with the torch right here. Like there's all these elements that they give you the provenance from the archival world of like kind of what something is and where it came from and why it's special.
Subscribe now for new content every week.